Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's astrologer Eric Rosen here for Viking Rising Astrology, your daily horoscope for Friday, October 20th, 2023. Thanks so much for being here. As always, if you want to get your private reading for you, for a relationship, for a business opportunity, you can click that link in that bio. Let's get into it today. The best way I know how to describe today, as the South Node, the Sun, and Mercury are starting to break apart in Libra, but now the Sun's going to start to square over to Pluto, is that our thoughts, as always, the mind is probably going to be collecting the idea of what we feel is in alignment. There might be some partial truths there, but that Sun that's now trailing that Mercury is going to be the reality check, more so in the heart, though. The reality of what is actually in alignment, more of the, that cardinal truth, that thing of like where we can actually really take things, right? Like if you listen to yesterday's horoscope, I talked about going up on a flagpole and getting a higher perspective of your life. This is where this Sun now breaking apart from these elements can actually, I think, shine a little bit more on how to connect with a higher level of energy, a higher level of joy, a higher level of spiritual justice to ourselves, to take that to a higher level. Now, the challenge is going to be one, and there's more than a few, but the first one is not scrambling our thinking. If we start getting into too much, like scrambled thinking about like what the truth is, and we feel like we're slipping on two banana peels at the same time, we're trying to find alignment, well, we might have just actually missed the mark of what that Sun was actually telling us. I would say especially because, the Sun and Mercury, they just had their conjunction, which is the inferior Cazimi point, where there's this idea of like your soul getting a message basically that's truth. But then with the South Node there, it's sort of like, can we really act on it right away? Can we really make a decision? I say yes, for if it's like a higher flagpole level of where you can take your life. If it's too much like back and forth with something and you're like uncertain, or you're talking yourself out of it, there's persuasion, like something's not aligning with the understanding of things, that was not the message to the soul. Don't worry about that stuff. Put that aside if you need to. Keep going on the quest for what feels really good, feels in alignment, and don't slip on those banana peels. Then the second challenge is going to be, I mentioned that Sun square over to Pluto. This is kind of gnarly, because this is where we can get too delayed in our decision making, and kind of like a hangman tarot card, and be hanging upside down and slide down the flagpole and bump our head and start doing weird Humpty Dumpty shit, and like starting all over and erasing the progress of the alignment and the decisions and the justice of what came through with that Cazimi point of that message to your soul, the understanding of a better place to take your plans in life. So we definitely don't want to reality check ourselves so hard that we say that we can't have something, we can't have the justification in life. You absolutely can. There's going to be work, there's going to be red tape involved, there's going to be networking, people situations for sure, for whatever it is that may have come through, whether that's making more lateral moves or moves, more up the ladder in your life. Everyone's in a different space, because Pluto and Capricorn does bring up haves and have-nots, and so the alignment for some people might just look like stabilizing basic levels of survival or blue-collar energy. Others might be looking at, okay, I've started to get some stability, like now how can I go up to that second level, to that medium level? That's the sort of thinking with the understanding is, yeah, there's going to be some challenging steps, but there should be people, there should be networking opportunities dropping in. I don't think we can, turn our nose up at it and do some type of pompous, Capricorn move and, negotiate our way out of like a connection thinking someone's superior and then someone that's not. I think we want to stay open to our connections today. This is not about shunning, your partnerships and your ivory tower. If anything, it's more about the understanding of like letting people be in different modes of understanding of the conceptualization of whether it's like their environment or just like where their thinking is at. Other people have different alignments. Not everyone is going to, of course, have the same value system. Not everyone is going to have the same level of drive and ambition in the moment. So this is where we have to just be more in integrity with what our desires are and with what we know is actually more true for ourselves that came through from that Kazemi point, and show up in integrity to the relationships that are showing up and not getting lost into the ones that aren't even like presenting themselves as like the challenge that actually has to do with that message that came to your soul. That's like, okay, yes, I do want to go into these spaces. I think our best bet, is to get the conceptualization piece down of the theory of the subconscious affirmation, the ask to the universe of what that is that we want to create, as opposed to feeling like we're the sleepy dwarf that's got to go work on the railroad all day long. It's like we're a little tired. We've already got stuff going on. There's probably already been plans set in motion to where we can't get maybe some of these other alignments like coming in. Think of like anything that feels a little bit newer or that you're wanting to move forward on that doesn't actually have the tracks yet. Like you haven't actually like, laid new tracks like for it, whether it's like the bulldozer moving the obstacles out of the way and self-doubt or negativity or whatever it is to actually start to pave the way for that to happen. That's more so, I think, going to happen post lunar eclipse in Aries, when there's more of this understanding about charging forward and not letting the unconscious lunar energy blocks get in the way. And seeing too that one of the things I'm predicting is that we can start to see a little bit that this lunar eclipse energy in Aries is actually showing us to where we don't have to do as much as we thought, that there is more of a mother nurturing element to things, and that we don't have to use agitated action or adrenaline or anger to fuel things. If anything, we want to let that go. That's part of that clearing those challenges, that grub of laying the tracks between these eclipses that we're currently in right now, and to more so relax into the positive alignment. I keep talking about aligning with your vibration, of course, to what you want. That's so fucking important right now. And just going more ham into, what you really want and affirming that at a deep level. And then it reminds me of like getting out of the sewers and the fucking Hunger Games movies with the creepy things trying to pull them down the ladder, and you fucking drop the bomb if you want to, or just fucking shut the fucking, just flip on the garbage disposal, fucking, the doubt, self-doubt, going back into the sewers, whatever it is, close the hatch and then be done with it. Do not let that negativity back in. We got to show the universe today with that moon also in Capricorn that we mean business with our alignments. And then post lunar eclipse, when it comes to, I think, more of the tangible action, then it's more of an understanding of like an identification of who we are, who we're becoming, especially after this weekend, and that this character test of sorts of what that is. And then maybe we don't have to do so much because we're not slipping on the banana peels, or we don't feel like we're getting stuck in survival and just trying to find alignment for the sake of, just getting by and actually thriving. And also allowing ourselves to be surprised too, of like what the actions show up. This is definitely not, a horoscope to take today or really for the next, I'd say even day and a half for the mental mapping piece of shit. This is more so about, yes, action steps of how to move your plans forward, and conversations, especially with people, and that networking can actually start to happen. That's part of the action step, for sharing your plans, the things that you're wanting to do. Do not forget to share what you feel is especially a true sense of your purpose. And see too what actually feels harmonious and balanced when you speak to people about your plans, and see those reactions of like where the resonance is, and see, is it all the same with one big thing, or is it, some people jive with some things and some don't with others, and cool, okay, I know who's in this networking group for this thing that I want to do, these plans, or these plans I already have going, or the new plans that dropped in for the Kazemi point. And so there's still surprise, like actions that can drop in. This doesn't mean like, oh my God, I have to wait till after the lunar eclipse to do anything and just sit on my hands. No, don't do that. Just don't get too much into the mental mapping and trying to force and push things forward. If you guys want to get that reading, pop into that link in that bio. It'll take you to my scheduling link. Love you all. Peace. Peace. Take it easy out there. Don't fight.